why? Because the belt situation?
No, not at all. That'd be stupid of me. You know, I'm 38.
You're young though still.
38 is old in boxing. I've been boxing since I was 7.
When Terence Crawford sat down for a live stream with Aiden Ross, boxing fans expected him to talk about his legendary victory over Canelo Alvarez as the defining challenge of his career. Instead, the undefeated champion dropped a bombshell that left everyone stunned. The toughest opponent he ever faced wasn't the Mexican superstar at super middleweight, but rather Yuriorkis Gamboa back in 2014 at lightweight.
Was Canelo the hardest person you ever fought?
Nah.
Who was the hardest person you ever fought?
Gamboa. And I was at 135.
That's crazy. To be that dominant, more dominant over Canelo?
I ain't even gonna lie, no. I thought it was gonna be harder.
Crawford's acknowledgement that Gamboa presented his most difficult test speaks volumes about the Cuban fighter's abilities during that era. Gamboa came into that bout as a former Olympic gold medalist with explosive speed and devastating power that created serious problems for Crawford in the early rounds. Fighting at 135 pounds, Crawford had just captured the WBO lightweight title and was still establishing himself as an elite-level competitor. The young champion found himself tested in ways he hadn't experienced before, facing an opponent whose athleticism and technical skills matched his own. This fight became a crucible that forged Crawford's future greatness, teaching him lessons that would prove invaluable throughout the rest of his career.
You know, but when I got in there and I started filling them out, I'm like, all right, I got him. You know, round 1, round 2, I was like, okay. Like, he ain't switching up nothing. You know,
he
only thing he can do is try to pressure me even more, but then he's gonna get countered. And that's the thing, like, a lot of people, they spent a lot of time talking about how big he is, his punch resistance, him knocking me out, him walking through me not being able to hurt him. And that's the main thing that people were saying. They wasn't talking about, you know, if I hit him, can I hurt him? You know?
Yeah.
Or things like that. And as you see in the fight, he respected my power a lot.
The significance of Crawford's September victory over Alvarez cannot be understated, even if it wasn't his most difficult fight. Moving up significantly in weight to challenge one of boxing's biggest names represented a massive risk that many experts questioned. The size difference alone seemed like it might prove insurmountable, yet Crawford silenced all doubters by capturing the super middleweight championship. This achievement added another historic accomplishment to a resume that already included undisputed titles across multiple weight divisions. The win demonstrated that Crawford's skills transcended physical limitations and confirmed his status as a generational talent. Throughout his career, Crawford compiled an immaculate record of 42 wins without a single defeat. He competed across numerous weight classes, defeating elite opposition at every level and establishing himself as one of modern boxing's most dominant champions. His technical brilliance, combined with an ability to adapt to any style, made him a nightmare matchup for virtually everyone who stepped into the ring with him.
The stat that stands with me the most, and there's a lot of good ones, 5-division champion, undefeated. He had a knockout streak from 2016 to 2023, starting with John Molina, ending with Errol Spence.
Oh, yeah.
Where it spanned 3 presidential terms, okay? And he won every single fight as a welterweight by knockout. And he won, and every single one of them, beginning with Jeff Horn for the WBO title, was a world title fight. That's a tough, I mean, that's a...
Hard to argue.
Yeah, to win every fight as a welterweight and win them all by knockout, and they were all title fights, it says something about him.
Absolutely.
And I think he has essentially my favorite style, the boxer puncher, you know, which Ray Robinson had and Ray Leonard, but he's a boxer puncher, but his true gift is the counter punching. He's as good a counter puncher as I've ever seen in the sport, but to be a boxer puncher, to mix it with the counter punching, where you're not just reliant on countering, but you can create with that 74-inch length the jab, because the jab gave Canelo as much problems as the counter punching. And then to put it all together against, I still think the absolute finest performance of his career was Spence, but the most important one's Canelo, because of the stature of Canelo. And I think what's so important about his performance against Canelo is that it will be studied.
Yeah.
When I talk about the Marcus Luthers and the Joseph Avignonias and the Jamal Harveys and obviously the guys who are close to him now, Shakur, Keyshawn, and the Devin Haneys and all that, but it's that it's gonna be a performance studied by the young guys coming up for many years to come.
Yeah.
That's the biggest compliment I could. It's great that he took home hardware and made a ton of money, but the biggest compliment I could give him on the Canelo performance is gonna be studied by young fighters.
When speculation arose about a potential comeback fight against Floyd Mayweather, Crawford quickly shut down any such notions. He made his position crystal clear during the live stream, explaining that he had no interest in facing Mayweather at this stage of both their careers. Crawford noted that Mayweather had aged past his prime and that such a contest wouldn't make sense for either fighter. This dismissal of what could have been a massive payday demonstrates Crawford's commitment to retiring on his own terms rather than chasing one final big money spectacle.
How would a fight between you and Floyd play out? How would you look to beat him?
Ooh, it'd be a good chess match. Floyd, you know, he's one of the greatest of, you know, playing chess. So it'll be a game of who's going to outthink who.
Would you fight him?
Nah, man, Floyd is old, man. Floyd is done.
Exhibition.
Man, Floyd ain't doing no exhibition with no real fighters.
Mm.
Man, why everybody be like taking shots at Floyd? Man, we gotta respect, you know, one of the greats.
Him stepping down and retiring.
Yeah.
The retirement announcement itself came through Ring Magazine on December 16th, catching the boxing world completely off guard. Crawford explained that every fighter knows retirement will eventually arrive, though the timing remains unpredictable. He reflected on spending his entire life chasing something deeper than championships, financial rewards, or media attention. What truly drove him was the feeling of proving doubters wrong and continuing to show up when the world questioned his abilities. Boxing had given him everything, and he fought for his family, his city of Omaha, and the kid he used to be who possessed nothing except dreams and a pair of gloves. Most importantly, he accomplished everything on his own terms.
So we've had a huge retirement, man. So it seems like Terence Crawford, 42-0, is going to hang him up now following his big win over Canelo. Thoughts on that? I know it surprised a lot of people.
Very surprising. But I think he did the right thing.
Why is that?
I just take my hat off to any fighter that says to themselves that this is enough, and being able to walk away without, you know, fighting with themselves about, I gotta take this fight, I gotta take this fight. He's made enough money to, you know, to take care of him and his family, so.
Well, no, you don't. I mean, know Terence a little bit, but you're not, close to him or anything. But thoughts on that?
Crawford's admiration for boxing's legends came through when he discussed his favorite fighters with Ross. He mentioned Muhammad Ali, Roy Jones Jr., Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker, and Andre Ward as the fighters he most respected and enjoyed watching. These names represent different eras and styles, but they share a common thread of excellence that Crawford clearly aspired to match. Many observers and fellow professionals now place Crawford alongside these greats, recognizing that he belongs in the conversation about the sport's all-time best. His ability to defeat top-level competition with relative ease throughout his career justifies this lofty placement.
Someone said, who are your top 5 of all time?
Yeah, Ali. It have to be Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard.
You said Jake Paul.
No, I ain't never said that. We got Pernell Whitaker.
Okay.
I'm put Andre Ward in there.
The real reasons behind Crawford's retirement decision became a topic of intense speculation after the announcement. Some theorized that being stripped of his undisputed super middleweight status before retirement motivated his decision to leave the sport. However, Crawford directly addressed this theory during his conversation with Ross, dismissing it as nonsense. He emphasized that at 38 years old, having boxed since age 7, he simply had nothing left to prove and no remaining goals to accomplish. The question became, what more could he possibly achieve, especially when he felt the boxing world wouldn't properly credit him regardless of what he did. Crawford also opened up about the lack of recognition he believes he deserves despite his accomplishments. When discussing why people downplay his victories, he explained that his superiority over opponents was so complete that it made elite fighters look worse than they ever had before. This led critics to claim his opponents were washed up or overrated rather than acknowledging Crawford's exceptional abilities.
Bro, you retired, bro.
Yeah, man.
And why? Because the belt situation?
No, not at all. That'd be stupid of me. You know, I'm 38.
You're young though still.
38 is old in boxing. I've been boxing since I was 7.
That's so crazy, bro.
You know, so I have nothing else to prove. I have nothing else to accomplish. You know, it's like, what more can I do?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're not gonna give me the credit anyway, so it really doesn't even matter.
Why do you think they're not gonna give you the credit?
Cause I'm just that nice.
Mm.
You know, not to be cocky or anything. It's just when you so much better than the competition and you make them look how they never looked before. Everybody say, oh, they washed, or this guy's a bum.
Ryan Garcia offered an interesting take on the retirement, suggesting Crawford might be following a playbook similar to what Floyd Mayweather successfully executed. Garcia theorized that the retirement announcement might not be permanent, but rather a calculated strategic pause. He acknowledged Crawford's intelligence and greatness, while expressing confidence that fans would eventually see him compete again. This perspective frames the retirement as potentially temporary.
What did you think about Crawford retiring?
I don't think he's really retiring though.
Maybe he's having up a Jake Paul fight.
No, he's doing the Mayweather thing.
Oh.
Retiring or coming back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
Stephen A. Smith weighed in on Crawford's decision, characterizing him as a special pound-for-pound champion, leaving the sport at the absolute peak of his powers following a spectacular career. Smith acknowledged that while Crawford's brilliance remains unquestionable, his retirement will inevitably spawn endless hypothetical discussions about how he would have performed against all-time greats like Mayweather or Leonard. Nevertheless, Smith argued that Crawford deserves celebration and reverence for his contributions to boxing and for consistently delivering outstanding performances that never disappointed his supporters.
He's taken on all comers, and he's taken all of them out. He is spectacular. He's the best pound for pound. He's been a tribute and a testament to the sport of boxing, and he should be not just applauded, not just celebrated, but revered, because he's that special. My props to him if indeed this is it and we'll never see him fighting again. Thank you for all you've done for boxing, Terence Crawford, because he never cheated us.
Tim Bradley provided perhaps the most credible assessment, having actually fought Crawford and experienced his abilities firsthand. Bradley described Crawford as the most skillful and talented fighter he ever faced, placing him in the same conversation as Manny Pacquiao. He characterized Crawford as a legendary figure whose technical brilliance was apparent long before he received widespread recognition as an all-time great. This testimony from someone who directly experienced Crawford's capabilities carries particular weight in evaluating his historical place in the sport.
Crawford is the most talented fighter that I've ever been in the ring with, right along with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was a savage. He was definitely savage, but Crawford, skill for skill, I ain't never been in the ring with nobody more skillful than Crawford. This is history. This is a GOAT before he became the GOAT. And you gotta see how he was before he got to where he is now.
Roy Jones Jr. added his endorsement to Crawford's decision, declaring that the retirement represents both a beautiful and intelligent choice. Jones emphasized that Crawford has absolutely nothing remaining to prove in boxing, having already demonstrated his greatness beyond any reasonable doubt. This support from another legendary fighter reinforces the consensus among many respected voices that Crawford earned the right to make this decision on his own terms.
Would you believe that Crawford's really retired?
I do.
What do you think about his issue with the WBC sanctioning?
I don't want to talk about it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It wasn't me. I don't know enough about it to talk about it, so I know that I do have respect for WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO. So I always respect him. I always did what I had to do. And without those guys, we would never known who the champions were. So I can't say nothing against them. He may have his own personal vendetta with him. I don't know enough about it to say whether he was right or wrong. So, you know, it's what it is.
Roy, who's the best fighter in boxing right now?
Right now, if he retires, if Terence retires, it's got to be Usyk.
Who?
Usyk.
Usyk is the best.
Without a question. If Terence retires, it's got to be Usyk now.
Max Kellerman delivered what might be the ultimate tribute to Crawford's career dominance. Kellerman asserted that Crawford belongs to an extraordinarily rare category of fighters whose superiority was so complete and overwhelming that fans will forever debate whether anyone could have actually beaten him. He highlighted that across 40 professional fights spanning 5 different weight classes, Crawford's dominance was so obvious and absolute that genuine uncertainty about outcomes never existed as his fights entered their final rounds. This level of consistent superiority places Crawford in truly elite company among boxing's greatest fighters.
There are some guys who people who lived through their eras will say, you ain't beating that guy. Yeah. And Terence Crawford's one of those guys. He's one of those guys. The people who watched him through this era will swear up and down no one could have ever beaten him. and they have a good case. Like he was no one really competed with him. He had over 40 professional fights through 5 weight classes, and you were never watching a Crawford fight, and here it is in the 11th round, and you're going, I wonder if he's going to win this fight.
Yeah.
Amir Khan, who faced Crawford in April of 2019, shared his thoughts with Ring Magazine. Khan referred to Crawford as a boxing legend who will always be remembered among the greatest fighters ever. Khan revealed that he had encountered Crawford just 2 days before the retirement announcement at a boxing event in Dubai, organized by the IBA, and Crawford had mentioned nothing about retiring. Khan had even inquired about Crawford's next fight because he wanted to attend as both a friend and someone who loves watching high-quality boxing. Khan reminisced about training alongside Crawford extensively and how Crawford had traveled to the mountains to train with him, creating memories that would remain with Khan forever.
You know, Terence is such a legend in the sport of boxing, and is always going to be remembered as one of the greats. I saw him 2 days ago in Dubai at the boxing event, at the IBA event, and I never mentioned one little thing. I mean, I was asking him who's going to fight next because I want to be there. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm a friend, and I love boxing, and I love seeing good boxing, and obviously been training alongside him for a long time, and him taking the time out to come all the way to the mountains to train with me. You know what I mean? That's something that's always gonna stay with me. A guy like him, who when he was pound for pound in my last fight, he flew over all the way to Omaha, and from Omaha up in the hills. Where were the hills again?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. Yeah. And he came just to train with me and to help me and support me. You know what I mean? That's what you call a champion, that respects other people as well, other champions. And that's one thing about Terence Crawford. He's always respected all the champions, all his peers, all his partners, all his gym mates. And he's going to be missed. Great legend of a guy. Not only what he did, what he's like in the ring. People know how good he is in the ring, but what he's like outside the ring is more humbling. There's a big difference between him and Mayweather. There's a big difference between him and the other fighters I've been around. Terence is a lovely guy who is very respectful and is a family man.
Not everyone believes this retirement will prove permanent. Rolly Romero expressed a strong intuition that Crawford will eventually return to boxing despite retiring after his significant victory over Alvarez. While Romero could not identify specific reasons or potential opponents that might lure Crawford back, he remained firmly convinced that this retirement does not represent the final chapter of Crawford's boxing story.
Terence Crawford, brother, just retired. Just what are your thoughts on that? He retired obviously on top, biggest win of his career against Canelo.
I got a feeling he'll be back.
You got what?
I got a feeling he'll be back. Just got a feeling.
Who would he come back against? Why would a Terence Crawford come back at this point?
I don't know. Just got a feeling. When you got a feeling, you just got a feeling, you know? You ever just have a feeling?
Eddie Hearn made it clear he was not taking Crawford's announcement at face value. Hearn suggested there might be underlying factors at play that the public has not yet discovered. During an interview with Fight Hub TV, Hearn questioned whether this retirement might actually be part of a larger negotiating strategy, or perhaps a way for Crawford to gain leverage in behind-the-scenes business dealings. The 46-year-old promoter acknowledged the physical realities facing any fighter approaching 40 years of age. Crawford will turn 39 next year, and Hearn pointed out that training camps become increasingly difficult as fighters age, with injuries taking longer to heal and recovery periods extending.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, you never know the background to these things, you know. Is it part of a wider negotiation? That's just me knowing the game. Are there lingering injuries, which might be more likely, you know, where every camp, what's he, 38 years old, 39? Like every camp gets very, very hard. For the boxing world, and even for fight fans, it's not frustrating because it's his decision, but he's now reached that superstar status. You kind of want him to keep going, and it wasn't like his performance against Canelo showed signs of aging or anything like that, but he's also made a lot of money. What a time to bow out on top. You know, a lot of fighters have one too many. So maybe he feels like the way my body is, maybe I'll get beat, and I don't need to get beat. I've got everything I've got. Or maybe he had a contract to fight someone else, but if he retires, he's not in that contract anymore, or it will give him greater leverage to negotiate a deal. That's just me being devious. which is part of my job.
As the boxing world continues processing Crawford's retirement, the debate about his legacy and potential return will undoubtedly persist. Whether this truly marks the end of his competitive career or merely represents a pause remains to be seen, but what cannot be disputed is the indelible mark he left on the sport during his remarkable undefeated run.